Bob Fosse, remember? Showtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah.
Showtime.
Yeah, that's right. I got to have the pill too, so I don't forget.
How do we get rid of this? I
Hey,
always have
hey.
this glare on my glass. Oh.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
know what to do, but
I keep
we're
going.
live here. We're live here
It's-
with the faking of the president. Get out the vote, New York primary launch. Everybody voted, I'm sure, in some capacity. I sent out for my absentee ballot, but never got it. So I had to do the affidavit at the poll over here. But
is that a fact? Because I live right near you, and I sent for mine. I got it. I sent it in. You know, I haven't.
never got it, so
I don't know that they counted it yet, but
Yeah.
or ever.
Your vote counts. Believe me, everybody's vote counts, and
So
and
that's
the
why you
president-
have a sticker.
Yeah,
was
yeah, I
jealous
do
of
have
your
a sticker. I went down to the polling, the school,
Yeah.
and I have to admit, I voted for Trump to be removed on January 20th.
Was that on the ballot? Because that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
on my absentee ballot.
That's right. That's right. I voted for him to be removed January 20th. So that's what we're
There you
all
go.
going to do. And I think
voted for him too, but I didn't get a sticker.
oh, it's okay. It's all right. I have two. I'll hand you one for the thing.
Yeah.
And I have it here somewhere. So good. So everybody's at home still. We're still in the same place we were a month ago, right? Or,
Well, I'm on a different piece of furniture.
okay, that's good. That's good. At least. How about
I
you?
just turned my desk around, so
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
yeah.
And you're
I
in the
think I
same
felt like
place.
the wall was a better backdrop than my laundry hanging in my office.
Well,
So-
out of necessity for your.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. We're here. We've got. Let's introduce everybody. I'm the editor, Peter Carlaftees, and we have S.J. ROZAN here to my. And it's always the wrong way to my on the screen to my right or stage right, stage right, and to the left. And we have Alex Segura below me, like the Brady Bunch, and catty cornered. We have, come on, we have ALISON GAYLIN
Below me.
and we're all in this book together that we put together, and we're ready for tackling the Orange Menace, whatever you want to call him, Balt's tweet. There's so many different names for this guy, and what a disgrace to the country, but especially to any intelligence that can carry on in the world. But hopefully, as we said, we're voting for Trump to be removed on January 20th, and that's going to build and build and build and work and be done. And we have these three wonderful authors who have contributed to the book. Alison below did Nixon, called Burning Love, and we have SJ who did FDR included with Eleanor Roosevelt, and below me is Alex Segura, who is interested in JFK and did a story about the assassination, and if time could change it, what would we do? And very interesting story. All three of them are wonderful stories, and we're going to hear a little bit from them and talk a little bit about each person here in a minute and get them introduced so you get to know them a little better. And then we will move forward with reading from the book as well. Are we getting any comments over here? Let's see. Somebody's there. Agent Orange. That's who they called. They call Agent Orange. That's true. It might bring some PTSD to people, so I don't like to use that one. The real Agent Orange. But this one, he's a real Agent Orange too. We'll have PTSD from him years to come. All of us.
We so will.
Right?
Yeah. The whole country will.
Yeah. We will. It's going to be years to get over this, but get over it. We will, and his name will fade away into the distance, and hopefully be in one of these nursing homes, thinking about Tulsa, and going downhill from there.
We can only hope.
Yeah, we can only hope. That's right. That's our hope now. Plus the hope that so much change is going on in the country with our, these horrible assassinations of blacks by police from brutality and just police enforcement. People say defund the police, and policemen are going crazy, and as well they should, but they're not. They don't have a clue what we're talking about, right? I mean, we're talking about bringing in treatment, bringing in therapy, bringing in these aspects to the law enforcement business, so that we can have people get better instead of just having recidivism happening and continuing this horrible assassination of people of color having a place to be on this earth and belonging and their lives mattering. So it's about time that this happens. And I think that there's a lot going on right now that you can't look this gift horse in the mouth now and say, well, I'm sorry you're late to the program or something. I think that everybody's really getting on board, and I can see a lot of change is going to come from this. Hopefully, number one, the Agent Orange gone, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Definitely.
Yeah.
As fast as possible.
Exactly. I mean, the days are like, what do you got?
Tomorrow
would be good.
Yeah.
You know, everybody say, no, we'll wait and we'll vote him out. I'll take it any way, shape, or form, you know.
As soon as possible. Just so some of us can live.
Yeah.
You know, that would be nice.
All right. Well, why don't we talk with Allison? Let me get up this little bit I have
Let me
here.
throw my phone out of this room if I can.
It doesn't like me. 2040G. Okay.
No, she's gone. Sorry,
She's
Peter.
coming back. I know it. It's,
She's back. She's back.
yay!
Fine.
Here's Allison. I'll put you guys on the sideline in the green room for a minute. What is
Okay.
wrong here? Oh, I see. Here we go. All right, there we go. So you guys sit on the side a minute. I'm going to talk with her, then I'll talk with SJ, then I'll talk with you, Alex, and then we'll all get together again and kind of get in the groove for this political place we get to go in a second. All right. Allison!
Hello, Peter.
We got Alex down there. You were kind of talking about doing Elvis Costello anthology, using his songs, you know, like the detectives, pump it up. Who knows what we could call it? It would be his baby. So, you know, but I'm working on getting through to him, because to have him on board might be the catalyst we need to bring it about. But I want to do Allison, because, you know, what I want to do is kind of mix in a noir of like William S. Burroughs when he went and shot his wife by accident. See, Allison, my aim is true, and I was going to work in the.
It's like it's great having an Elvis Costello song named after me, even if it is about a woman that he wants to kill.
Okay, good. I'm glad you feel that way.
Well, my whole life I've had people telling me their aim is true. I'm like, oh, great. So everybody's just threatening to murder me all the time.
Well, you write a lot about murder too, so do you not?
Exactly.
Okay,
I think it's a reaction to my name.
That's right. That's right. You're well known in the field. You've been nominated for every award. You've won just about every award, right?
A couple, yeah.
One of you, and you have your latest book is what? It's
called Never Look Back.
Right. That was out last summer. Is that true? When it came out?
And I just turned in the first draft of my book that's coming out next year, probably around this time. I think like late May.
Their title?
Well, I have a working title, but I don't know whether it's going to be the current.
Okay, well, don't tell us. We'll be looking for that. Don't worry.
Yes.
And you also won. If I Die Tonight, you won the Edgar, right, for that one? So,
yes, I did.
Yay.
Very exciting. Thank
Good
you.
for you. And you've written 11 novels now. Or is this going to be your 12th?
This is my 12th novel that I just turned in.
I'm
So
just like going to shrink here into, you know, like, but very good. It's so great to be in your company. You know, it's so great to have you. It was so wonderful you came into this project, and the story you wrote is so fantastic. Nixon, Elvis. and you became the teacher's pet, me being the teacher right away, and just a wonderful experience. So, what's happening up in Woodstock? Is it like pretty quiet, or?
Well, it's actually getting to be a little bit busier. Fortunately, everybody's wearing their masks in town. It's a very small and congested town, so you really can't get away with walking down the streets without wearing a mask. It's almost like being in a mall or something because it's a small little town. But yeah, things are starting to come alive again. The restaurants are opening with outdoor seating, and some of the businesses are reopening. And my best friend James Conrad owns the bookstore, the Golden Notebook.
Right.
It's been open for business the whole time, but now people can go in small groups and browse. So that's very exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, so it's nice. Woodstock is a good place to be right now.
Well, I'm glad you're happy and you are home and you're working. So that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Not much more I could ask for. So
yeah. So I mean, I'm stuck here. You see where I am. I've been here. In fact, I cooked 101 days straight from March 11th through this past Saturday. It was 101 days that I actually cooked a meal every day. And I went out shopping once a week, but I really enjoyed that. It gave me some focus, and it gave me like a place to belong to that and, adhere to that. Now I'm off for 9 days.
Yeah. Wow. That's great.
I got some sandwiches across the street today. I got a pizza last night. We'll see, how long I can hold off till I start cooking again. Because
yes, it's actually kind of these days it's sort of exciting to get takeout. That's like
yeah. I mean, I'm just finding out this how nice that is. But
yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how far I go, because I usually cook 5-6 days a week anyway.
Right.
So it's really not much of a stretch, except I took no time off, and I liked it. Okay, so we'll get back together and we'll talk more about Nixon, and we'll talk more about Nixon and Elvis. Then you can read from your story, and I'm going to bring up SJ now, and we'll get comfortable with her and get everybody to be happy to be closer and belong here. So but thanks for talking, and we'll talk again in the near future. All four of us will get together before we break up again. So just hang loose in the green room there with Alex, and we'll bring you right back up. So hang in. All right, here comes SJ Rosen.
Hi,
the
guys.
SJ Rosen. She's
now the other
well
one.
known in this circle, in this mystery crime field, by everyone, that you've taught master classes. You've, in fact, in Italy, right? You in Assisi, Italy. You've done that type of class, right? Tell us about that.
Oh, that is the greatest gig ever. It's 15 years ago. So these people called me who had this workshop in Italy, and they said, we've read your books and we like them a lot, and we would like you to come teach with us. It's 2 weeks in this hotel in Assisi. We can't afford to pay you just to bring you over, put you up, and feed you. Would that be okay? I thought, yeah, let me ask my people, And
right.
Yeah. So it's been like that ever since. It's just fabulous. The place is gorgeous. And my students are always terrific. I love to teach. I have students here in New York. They're marvelous. We are all devastated that we can't do the program this year. It was supposed to be in August, and we decided in early March that even if it were okay to go to Italy in August, people have to make that decision in April and May. So we canceled for this year, and it's just heartbreaking. But
those things are very disappointing.
Yeah, but we'll be back next year. Check out my website; you can find the whole thing on it. And we are not admitting defeat at all. So once this virus has found its vaccine, we'll all be back.
We're gonna get there. Like I said, as soon as we vote for Trump out, removed, January 20th or sooner, there'll be someone that's paying attention here, and someone with some astute quality that will bring about a cure and a vaccine to alleviate what we're facing right now, which is total lack of leadership, period, you know. It's okay if you have a friend who's kind of full of themselves and you choose to deal with them, but, you know, 350 million people don't have that friend, believe me. That's not what it's about. So anyhow, so what's happening with you right now? Have you got a new novel, or tell us
I have a book coming out in December, early December.
Okay, good.
It's called The Art of Violence. It's a Bill Smith book set in New York in the art world. And I'm working on something else now, which is not a Bill or Lydia book, but could be the start of a new series.
All right.
And you know, hoping that I'll get asked to do a Lydia book after the Bill book, but I didn't want to do nothing, God forbid, you know.
No.
And you know, I'm doing what a lot of people have been doing during this time. I am going through my files and my closet, you know, and I'm amassing these big bags of stuff to take to Housing Works, the thrift store, which is not open.
No.
So, you know, I have these mounds of things that are ready to leave the house, which is really kind of satisfying. You know, that all this stuff you don't have time to do in real life is I've been using this time for that. I've been teaching online. My students didn't want to stop, which is great because they're all in the middle of books. So I have 2 classes that we Zoom. And the other thing is I have a family Zoom every Sunday, and I have been seeing more of my sibs and cousins than I ever see, you know, and all together at once. It's really kind of great. So, you know, I write. My routine is not all that different. In the early part of the day, I get up in the morning, I go out, I come back, I write. It's when it gets to be afternoon and evening where I would normally be out teaching or at a meeting or something that I'm still here.
You would be at a convention in another city every time.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you do it. So it's gotta be tough for you.
It is to not be getting around, because that is my modus. I get around. So that's weird, but I'm using it, trying to use it to my advantage. It will eventually be over, and I don't want to have wasted it.
And you're like Marlon Perkins too, right? You've got right outside your window, you've got the natural world of wildlife or whatever. What was that?
Oh my God! Right. I have I face the back. Right. So although I live in a 6-story building, there are townhouses all out behind me, and they have gardens and yards and trees, and so I put a bird feeder on the fire escape. Something I've been thinking about for years. I actually did it. And I get birds, I get squirrels. It's fabulous. I can identify them, you know, because they come right up close. You know, this squirrel, the other squirrel, and it's really fun to watch them. The blue jay came with the baby blue jays, and they all sat and squawked at me because I hadn't filled the feeder yet that morning. You know, there's like 4 blue jays running around the balcony squawking. So it was. It's really very adorable. Yeah.
It's almost like being a mother hen or a mama bird.
They think that's what they think, you know. Feed me. So I feed them.
Well, follow her on Facebook. You can see all these wonderful animals out on her fire escape. I think it's wonderful. I look all the time at your posts and see them. I'm even getting to know the squirrels. I have squirrels down in the Roosevelt Park down near the World Trade Center, and I know who they are. They know me, you know, they hustle me all the time. That's all they do.
That's what squirrels do. They hustle you. They say, I am so cute, you can't resist me. Feed me.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to get on to Alex. I'm going to put you back in the green room there with Allison. Then we'll all get together for a little bit and kind of bring a little politics into this, and then we'll isolate to each story, and then we'll all get together at the end. Okay.
All right, great.
So good talking to you. I'm going to push the book for 1 second. Alex. So hang loose. Thank you, SJ ROZAN. So let me push this book. It's along the bottom here. Buy. See that first word? It's very important. The Faking of the President at www.3roomspress.com shop. And you can get this book right there. You can get it at your local bookstore if it's open, or order directly from them. They'll bring it to your car or your person outside of the store. You can order from, Amazon, but there are plenty of other places to order as well. And if you really care, order right there. See that at the bottom, 3roomspress.com. Buy. All right. So we're going to bring up Alex Segura now, who just has something to say about a new book deal. Here he comes, Alex Segura.
Hey.
Thank you so much. I figured that was it for you. You were floating away somewhere. We weren't even going to see you tonight. You must be so happy.
I was just going to ghost the whole event. No. It's good. I'm happy to
No,
be
you
here.
were ghost. I know that, but I'm just saying you floated away, with being stuck inside all this time, and such a good deal. So tell us what happened. Tell us what went down for you.
We just announced today that my next crime novel, Secret Identity, which is going to be set in 1975 New York in the comic book industry, is coming out from Flatiron. So that's the big news. Yeah, I'm excited. Right. I've been thinking about this a long time. It kind of puts my two loves together, which is crime fiction and comics, which is my day job. And it's been a lot of fun researching it and just kind of getting a sense of that time period. And it's a female protagonist, and she has to solve a mystery that, she's an amateur. She's not a PI like Pete, but she's got to figure out what went wrong. And I'm just stoked to have the news out there. It's so tough to sit on things like that.
2-book deal, right? So you got another book
right.
for them too. That's just fantastic. And it just happened right now, right? So good for you. Your latest book is Miami Midnight, and that's up for Anthony, right? Is it up for?
Yeah, it was nominated for best novel.
Very good. So we're all
amazing.
rooting for you there, of course. And
yeah.
then next year we'll all be rooting for ourselves for this anthology, and hopefully everybody's story will be up as well. That I think it's in New Orleans too, so I'm looking forward to that.
We should be in vaccine land by then, so we can all gather and hug each other and talk.
We should be. At least share some good food down there. You can't go wrong. It's like down in New Orleans. We'll have Greg Herron to take us around too from the book.
Greg will be a great guide. He's awesome.
He is. We met him down there a couple of years ago. We did the ALA. Of course, we were there for the other VoucherCon, but we had to meet him for the ALA for something, and he's very kind with us. So
he's fantastic. So are you guys.
So your comic books is during the day. Your job is what exactly does your job entail with comics?
I'm co-president of Archie Comics, so it's a fancy title for someone who's pretty much a jack of all trades. I do some editorial, some marketing, some new biz dev, a little bit of everything, a lot of everything. So it's great. I grew up reading Archie, so
of course, yeah. So if you go into a store now, there aren't those little carousel things with Archie on it. Are there? Maybe in a couple of stores, right? But not many.
You still find them on the newsstand. If you go to a grocery store, you'll still see the digest, which not a lot of comic companies do.
All right. Well, that's good. And now Archie, are they still the same characters, or have they evolved? Have we?
They've evolved. You see shows like you see Riverdale, which is a much more kind of noir teen drama take. But then we still do the classic stuff, which is, Betty and Veronica and Archie at the chocolate shop with Jughead. So we try to keep everyone happy as best we can. And people are looking for comfort entertainment, just really light comedy during these really challenging times. So I think people are really responding to it.
So are the gangs still tolerating Reggie and his toxic masculinity, or what is it like?
I think he's mellow. I think they've all kind of evolved with the times, but it's still the kind of the tropes are there. But so Reggie can be difficult, but he's kind of mellowed out a bit, I think.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah. We all evolve and grow, hopefully.
I hope so. I mean, like we say, with this country will evolve soon, and let's hope, because what well, every day it's just it's like another, just a pile on a, you know, like we're being buried alive. Those hopes, dreams, the you know, the American dream is basically, you know, being just, you know, we're here. How much breath are we going to have left by January 20th? Like you said, tomorrow, you know what I mean? We've got enough breath to go on. So who knows?
Well, you know, I find history really soothing at times like this. You know, I was reading a piece of, you know, Lyndon Johnson going through what Trump is dealing with in terms of like just the sheer loss of life and the protests, and eventually. Did you lose me for a second, or?
Yeah, I did. Go ahead, though. Don't worry, you're back, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that, you know, that even during these dark times, there's always a light. So I think we just need to kind of keep moving towards that, and just do what we need to do, be active and vocal. That's
a positive approach, and you're absolutely right. Are you getting many fireworks out by you at night, or in Queens, or?
Yeah, no, I went for a walk. Yeah, I went for a walk yesterday, and it was like machine gun fire in the sky. Wow. So I don't know what the idea is with that, but yeah.
There's all kinds.
How about you guys?
No, none here. It's almost like I paid for it, you know, to not have them, you know, here
exactly, yeah,
or something. You know, I don't, you know, like to say that it's privilege, but I do pay. You know, it's like if I went on the street and said to these guys, "Hey, go down the street and do this," you know, it's costing me one way or the other, right? But you know, I was just reading today about how they said that it's a you know, there's a conspiracy theory that it's the NYPD and the you know, FDNY are doing this in the, you know, and this is what I read today, in the communities.
Oh, really?
Color, because they want them to get used to the sound, because then when they really invade, they won't know an invasion is going on. This is the conspiracy theory I read today. And I mean, how can you not feel that way being in a compromised, you know, community for so long? I mean, you could think of anything that could happen to you in this particular situation. It's a strange thing that this would happen right now. You know, I do feel like across the board we've kind of fallen into that conspiracy rabbit hole a little too far. Exactly. You know, not everything is this complicated plot to overthrow America, but you know, it's hard not to when you have information at your fingertips and you can kind of find anything that supports what you want to believe in a second. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest, you know, one of our biggest. It's in the way of moving forward. I think that we got to step out of that rabbit hole and really look at each other. And say, well, I'm not just in this hole. I'm not just in this hole. You know what I mean? We gotta get to know each other, and I think that's happening, and I think it's going to continue to happen. I don't think that people are going to accept it otherwise. You know, I think that, you know, I think people want that, and if
we have to have uncomfortable conversations. We have to to be uncomfortable. We have to feel out of our element to understand what other people are going through. Otherwise, we're just in our little silo, which is social media in a nutshell.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, I have defriended a lot of people that were on my page lately. And they're going, I'm going, what? You know, what? This person, I mean, I don't even know this person. They're here. Goodbye. I don't want to get to know them, and I don't want to, you know, I don't even know them. So it's not like I'm, you know, cutting somebody off and not having the uncomfortable conversation. There's no need to, you know,
well, they have to want to meet you in the middle. They have to want to meet you in the middle. If they're just kind of blaring like catchphrases at you, there's no point. So
no, absolutely. So let's how about we bring everybody back for a little bit? And Alex Segura's just signed a two-book deal, Flatiron Books. Congratulations!
Thank you. And
up for the anthem.
It's a good way to celebrate. Yeah, it's a great way to celebrate.
It really is. So let's get everybody together and kind of talk more about the presidency as a whole, as we you know, talk about. We've got the FDR, Nixon, and JFK, and Trump for me, but you know, is my story. Obama is also in my story, but he's kind of has a secret name. Anyhow, so we've taken this presidency now to be so degraded, to be, to not have the dignity, to not have the, especially elsewhere, internationally. I mean, we've dropped in any esteem. But of course, what esteem did America have being what it was to begin with through the past, especially since the 80s when, Reagan came in and turned this into a speculative economy where people of color were just not involved at all. They had no place in that economy. And thus, look where we are now. That's 40 years later of not being involved. And we have to all be involved to change that now. But the presidency, start with FDR down here. I mean, he had a lot to deal with, right? SJ, what do you feel about him? How he had the country evolve from the Great Depression through World War II? That's a hell of a job.
Yeah, FDR was, before anything else, a politician, and a really good one. And he could see the effects of his actions 3 or 4 steps ahead. If we do this, this will happen. If we do that, that'll happen. He was also, he had a tremendous amount of energy, which is what saved him after the polio.
Right.
He just wasn't goddamn gonna stop. He was the one who decided that he was going to make it look, from photographs and stuff, and from where he gave his speeches and that kind of thing, like the polio was meaningless. And he was that kind of micromanaging autocratic tower of strength we needed through the war.
Yeah.
In the same way, you should pardon the dirty word, Rudy Giuliani was during right after 9/11. In the same way Andrew Cuomo has been in New York State. I'm not Cuomo's biggest fan for exactly that reason. But boy, when a micromanaging autocrat was needed to step up,
right,
he was the one. And that's what FDR did. What it led to, though, was a tremendously pragmatic view of how not only government should be run, but what decisions should be made and how decisions should be made, so that his end game was we and our allies were going to win this war. We're going to come out of the Depression. We're going to win this war once the war started. And that was the goal. And anything that he saw as interfering with that goal would be a problem. Whereas other people were thinking, how can you not do X, Y, or Z, including the thing in my story? It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And he's thinking, it may be the right thing to do, but it's not going to work to get us to our goal. And, was that a good thing or not? We did win the war, but could we have won it quicker at lower cost in terms of human life? I don't know. But that was who he was. And he's a fascinating guy. And their relationship, Franklin and Eleanor, was astounding. And the more I learn about it, the more amazed I am.
It was an incredible, like a menage a trois going on in the White House at the time. Why not?
A menage a quatre, more than that, because he had his mistresses and she had her lovers, and and yet they had a partnership in terms of policy and in terms of their presentation to the world that is I think unmatched, except possibly for the Obamas.
Well, you're right
in terms
about
of
that.
a partnership.
So I'm certainly different takes on power, but I think that she became the prototype for, say, a Michelle Obama.
Oh, absolutely.
Just someone to admire and continue to admire. So we had Nixon came in right after that with Eisenhower for 8 years, and he lost in 1962 Kennedy. So Yeah, I was thinking earlier it would be an interesting discussion to think that, if you think about Reagan and then Bush with the 4 years out. So let's say Eisenhower, which were the grand American years, I think that, anybody might want to say, anybody white would want to say those were the years that America was great, as we rebuilt, built the country. Yeah. But let's say Nixon didn't let Kennedy steal those votes in Chicago, and Nixon won that year. Let's say he won in 1960, right? And let's say he was out in 4 years and Kennedy came in. I think it would have been. I don't think Kennedy would have been in a position to have his brains blown out by that time. I really don't think that they would have had that, because everything was so set up in 1960, 59 to ruin Kennedy. Right away, 3 months into his presidency, what does he get? The Bay of Pigs, because something that was set up in the CIA, screwed up. They screwed up the invasion, just like they did to Carter with the Iran hostages. It was a very similar setup by a Republican setting up the attack or whatever. Anyhow, it was just something that was going through my mind. But Kennedy, that didn't happen. Kennedy's gone, and I find that I thought that was, even with the new Bob Dylan song, if you just listen to that, you know immediately that you agree with this. It was a moment, for this country that it'll never get over. One you'll never put to bed what we could have become, and because of that, we lost MLK. We lost Bobby. Because of that, they were able to get rid of that. Well, boom, like, get rid of these guys. They're nothing yet. It was just like their lives didn't matter. Their lives didn't matter, and it's just continuing now. It's an awful thing that happened to us at that point with JFK. And so, I love your attack. Going in there and say, well, how could it have been changed? And if we can go later, Nixon. Also, we were just talking about Nixon and how Nixon and Trump were the same, but they called out the fact that he went down to the Lincoln Memorial and talked to these people. He stood there and explained this as I am not a crook. I believe in you. Whatever the hell he said, he went out there and got that. Trump wouldn't, he's pepper spraying people or tear gassing him and whatever to get this thing. What a time we're in, So let me hear a little bit about Kennedy, who was next, and then we'll get to Nixon, then we'll break up and read from the stories. But Kennedy, to you, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason you don't even see Kennedy in the story that I wrote. It's really right. Kennedy is this ideal, this of hope lost and missed opportunity that I kind of reflects the whole generation. And the example you were sharing, what would Nixon have done? I feel like I don't know if we would have survived. He would have probably gone nuclear on the Bay of Pigs and sent in the air support, and it would have led to a nuclear conflict with Russia, and we would have maybe not even gotten past the first 3 months because. There's a timeline from Nixon to Reagan to Trump, and it's how these kind of Republican candidates evolve and how they really there's a great book called Nixon Land that Rick Perlstein wrote that is actually much more thoughtful than what I'm trying to say, but he connects the dots. Trump isn't this random phenomenon. He is a creature of politics, and he is a byproduct of society. And it's kind of our Frankenstein, this celebrity culture monster. And Kennedy is the opposite of that. He's this idealized president that never really got to be president. I mean, he was gunned down 3 years into his first term, which is a drop in the bucket, when you think about it. He was already just starting to plan his reelection, just starting to see things develop. And I'm sure he would have signed, things like the Civil Rights Act. We would have seen things change. He'd already started the Vietnam conflict or been part of it, but I think he would have probably pulled back in a way that Johnson couldn't have, in a more thoughtful way.
Yeah. Well, Johnson wasn't capable of that. He had,
right.
And I think, what you're saying about Nixon in 60. That invasion of those cats that went down there would not have been this ragtag bunch that they sent because they wanted Kennedy to look bad. So they would have been more together. I don't know, had we might or might not have gotten into a nuclear confrontation. I don't think anybody really wanted that. The Russians didn't want it, or we would have had it regardless. But he was set up, you know, Kennedy was 3 months in, he had no chance to, you know, and they said, this guy has nothing. He can't protect us. We got to get rid of him. You know, you start this kind of conversation, you know, after this great, wonderful 8 years of Ike. What a life, what a place to be, and what a place for the Americans at that point to have so much hope and to just have it decimated, you know, and then Vietnam escalate, and then have Nixon, who we'll move on to next. So,
well, it's almost like it's a before and after point, you know. There's America before Kennedy was shot, and then there's everything else. And then you have other really social elements like the British invasion, you know, music, and all these, the counterculture, and it all kind of crashes together,
right?
To really, you know, the late '60s are a game-changing moment for our culture, and I think we're kind of in that now. We won't really be aware of it until much later, at least in a contextualized way, but. It's, you know, I do sometimes wish we were more boring times, I have to say.
Well, I know that I'm a child of the 60s, but I'm a product of the 70s, which doesn't say a lot for me. But, but that's, you know, what I am. Yeah. The 70s are, you know, that paranoid edge that kind of went into the you know, kind of just hiding behind whatever, you know, self-help, self-belief you wanted it, what have you. Anyhow, Allison, I want to move on to Nixon. Are you there?
Thing though about like today, because I think these are such unique and fascinating times that we're in today, and I'm really kind of a glass as half full kind of person. I'm very encouraged by the next generation. I'm encouraged by these protests. I'm encouraged by the amount of people paying attention to things that have been going on for years. And I actually think one of the reasons why people have been paying attention is we're all trapped in our houses. We're all on social media. We all have cameras. We can all video. I mean, it's like, it's not like a new thing that George Floyd was murdered. This has been going on for years and years and years. It's just, we've got friggin' cameras now, and we're all trapped in our homes, so we're all watching it. We all have to focus. We're being forced to focus, and Trump is somebody who thrives on people having short attention spans and not remembering things, but remembering things because of this virus, because we're contained. So if you kind of look at it as it glasses half full type of thing, I think wonderful things can happen as a result of this very horrifying time period that we're in right now. Just my
no, I'm with you. I'm with you. The only all I can say though is that you know, through this time we didn't do enough, or we didn't really have it to do. You know, we got through it. But I know one thing, that book sales have dropped immensely since we were younger. So to now, so we got to change that. Let's bring that in.
Yeah, let's change that.
Especially the faking of the president.
Here we are.
All of us too. All voices, marginalized voices, every voice there is needs to be heard, and people need books in their hands to continue to grow and to learn and to evolve. You know, so that we want to bring that in whatever shape, form it takes. But so let's go Nixon. Your man Nixon, who you had a wonderful story where he meets Elvis.
My man. But
well, you know what I'm saying. He's in your story.
Your guy, Nixon.
He's your guy. And you know, you had a little feel for him because you're protective of him, you know, in the story of Elvis is coming in. He don't want anything to do with him, right? So at that time, he steals the election. In 1968, I mean, he's pissed off from losing in 60. He says nobody's going to beat me again, and they didn't until they threw him out. But you know, he had some run there. I mean, and he almost got away with as much as this fellow is now, just being, you know, a total asshole, and to have so many people dislike him. Yet he had this group of followers too, the silent majority. So what do you think? Let's hear your take on America at that time and his involvement.
I think that the main difference between the Nixon and the current occupant of the White House is that Nixon, you know, he, for better or for worse, he was an extremely intelligent person. He had a very high IQ. I don't know if that's true right now.
We don't know.
And
You
I
don't
think Nixon is just a fascinating character to write about. And I've said this before, like I kind of think he's our most noir president. I like writing noir, and I find him to be very noir because he's paranoid and he lets his demons get the best of him, and bad things happen to him, and he keeps trying to make them go away, and his trying to make them go away gets spirals and snowballs and gets worse and worse and worse. So to me, that's a great character to write.
Yes, and it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so like when you asked me to contribute to this, I said, oh, somebody's got to be doing Nixon and Elvis, because to me that picture is so incredibly famous of the two of them, where he's shaking Elvis's hand and Elvis has got his shirt unbuttoned to his waist and Nixon's looking all Nixon like, hey, look at my celebrity pal here. And it's so interesting. And then I read about the background to this, which was that Elvis wanted to be a federal marshal, and that he wanted to be able to carry a gun and be able to, kind of get as many drugs as he wanted without getting into trouble over it. And he also, pitched this to Nixon as, I know the youth of today. I know these Beatles, these awful Beatles are foreign agents, and they're trying to wreck the children's mind with LSD and marijuana. He really wrote a letter to him like this. And so Nixon's like, hey, I can check in with the young people. So let's have Elvis, who is at this point actually kind of my favorite Elvis period as far as the music goes. I love his Vegas songs, but a little past his prime as far as his appeal to the youth. Invites them to the Oval Office, and they have this meeting which nobody really knows very much about. And I just kind of let my mind take off from there as to what this meeting could be. I've always been fascinated by it, and it was really fun to have the opportunity to write about it.
Great. Well, why don't we have you read?
Now we know what happened.
Yeah, we're going to have her
Now
read
we know,
from her,
right?
Let's
Thank
have
you,
her read
Allison.
from her story. We'll have her read from her story. Where's the banner? Here we go. Hide. Okay. Then why don't you read from your story, Allison, and we'll all go into the little green room, guys, and we'll let Allison. Yeah, the book. Whoops, over here. And we'll all be back with our stories after Allison will bring up SJ. Okay, so bye-bye. Hello, Allison. You're.
Hi, everybody. So I am reading my story, which is called Burning Love, which is possibly my favorite Elvis song. But anyway, that's the name of my story. Good morning, Mr. President. Elvis says it as soon as Dick picks up the phone, before he's even able to choke down the last spoonful of cottage cheese and ketchup and get a goddamn hello out of his mouth. He's like that, Elvis, quick on the draw, impatient with the formalities. Dick only met him once before, and he hardly ever thinks of that time. But he had noticed it then, too. The way he grabbed his hand and shook it so fast, the Secret Service guys were reaching for their guns. Dick remembers feeling sorry for that entourage of his, because it had to be hard keeping up with a whirlwind like the king. More than once, Dick had seen those poor Memphis Mafia bastards get their asses handed to them for being too slow in fulfilling his request. Where's my Fresca, Sonny? Didn't I ask for a Fresca 15 seconds ago? I bet the president would like a can, too. I shouldn't have to tell you that, Charlie. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? Am I the only one who thinks around here? Elvis had impressed Dick as a man who knew what he wanted and wanted it yesterday. A good quality for a leader, and one that had reminded him of himself, though Dick would sooner be tarred and feathered than wear a dress shirt unbuttoned that far down the belly. Mr. President, Dick thinks. What a damn kind thing to call him. It's August 6, 1977, 3 years to the day after the commies and Jews forced him out of office. Outside of David Frost, and Dick is pretty sure that limey motherfucker was being sarcastic, nobody calls him Mr. President anymore, and that includes Pat, no matter how much he begs her to. Hiya, Elvis. Mr. President, I'd appreciate it if you called me Federal Agent Presley. Christ on a crutch, forgot all about that. Federal Agent Presley, of course. Thank you for your service. It's a lifetime appointment, right? Yes, sirree, lifetime. Longer even if you want it to be. Dick can feel the sweat beating up on his forehead, his pulse starting to race. It's not just the king. All celebrities make him nervous, especially the rock and rollers, the hep cats. A few seconds with one of those guys, and it's the Kennedy debacle all over again. He still turns red thinking about that time he got mauled by Sammy Davis Jr. Elvis is saying something about the peanut farmer honoring his federal field marshal title, but Dick's having trouble focusing. All I can think is, why is he calling me? Dick hasn't talked to the king in 7 years. He barely remembers most of what was said during that meeting, but as he recalls, he had said goodbye on a cordial note. No unpaid debts, right? Right? Elvis had contacted him in the first place because he wanted to be a federal drug enforcement marshal and special agent first class. And even though Dick had no idea what any of that meant, he'd gotten Rosemary to make up a certificate. She special ordered a shiny badge, too, sort of like those plastic wings the commercial airline pilots used to give Tricia and Julie when they were little. Nice souvenirs. Of course, the girls never called those pilots out of the blue while they were eating their breakfast, demanding to be called captain. Presley's talking about Las Vegas now, how it's the only place he truly feels at home anymore. I know I'm a Southern boy at heart, Mr. President, but Vegas, I gotta get back there. It's something else. It's special, but I don't need to tell you that, do I? Dick says, Pat and I saw Wayne Newton play there once. Great little town. For several seconds, Presley goes quiet. If Dick didn't hear him breathing into the phone, he'd have thought the call had disconnected. You don't remember? Huh? Vegas, Mr. President. He says it again, very softly. Vegas. Dick clears his throat. His cheeks feel hot. Twin beads of sweat trickle down his rib cage, and he tries telling himself it's the celebrity thing again, how famous people are semi-delusional because they live in their own world, everyone treating them like royalty and telling them they're right all the time, and that's why they make him so nervous. He's a man of logic, after all, a meat and potatoes guy, when people like Elvis, the hep cats, they're all granola and moonbeams and utter nonsense. But there's more to it than that. Vegas. The tone in Elvis's voice, it stirs something in him, the faintest hint of an emotion he can barely remember experiencing, of tiny bright dots and a warmth welling in his chest, a sea of lights and a landscape of hope. Mr. President, I need to talk to you. Dick shakes the image from his brain. Go ahead, he says. No, I mean in person. Well, Special Agent, Federal Agent Presley, my plate's kind of full right now. I got to go over the proofs for my memoir, and Pat's cousin's visiting, so I don't think I can get out to Memphis, Mr. President. I'm awfully sorry, but brother. Yes, Dick says. He can barely speak. I'm here in San Clemente. He grips the receiver, his hands starting to shake. He feels as though he might cry because he remembers now the twinkling lights, the racing of his heart, all of it, every mind-blowing second. Brother. You're here? Staying at the Seahorse, just about 5 minutes from your pad if I tell the limo driver to gun it. 1,000 questions roam through Dick's mind, and he stares at the receiver as though he expects it to answer all of them. Okay, he says, I guess I'll see you in a few. And that's it. Hello.
I'm here. Yay. Very good. And everybody's clapping down there too. So
yay.
Very nice. So, and you have to buy the book to finish up Alison's story, Burning Love, and also the other two you're about to hear, and a little of my own as well, and all the other 19 stories in there. So thank you so much, Alison. We'll get together when these guys are done, and we'll talk a little more and close out the show. So thank you. Your presence is just like that breath of Woodstock air. You know?
Thanks, Peter.
All right. So we'll see you in a minute. So
Okay.
hang in there in the green room. And we're bringing up S.J. Rosen, who's going to read from her story, Mother of Exiles, which is about FDR and his wife, Eleanor, First Lady, at the time of before America's involvement in World War One, right? It was, I mean, World War Two. It was right around, right, yeah, World War Two, of course, right at the right before we got into the war, right? So we'll let you take on your story, and it's Mother of Exiles, S.J. Rosen.
Yeah. Thank you. Hi guys. Yeah, the story is called Mother of Exiles, which is, of course, what Emma Lazarus calls the Statue of Liberty in her poem on the statue's base. So the story is based on a much less pragmatic way than her husband. She just thought it was right that people should not be persecuted. Two, starting in 1935, Eleanor Roosevelt had a daily newspaper column, 6 days a week, that was read by millions. It made her the most widely read columnist in the country. And three, that when they were apart, Eleanor and Franklin often communicated by telegram. Okay, so these are the facts I started with. I'll read half of the story. The first three things I'm going to read: a piece of one of Eleanor's columns, a telegram from her to him, and one from him to her, are authentic. And then after that comes the stuff I made up. Okay? So, Mother of Exiles. My day, Eleanor Roosevelt, January 23rd, 1939. Washington, Sunday. What a curious thing it is when a great musician like Misha Elman offers the proceeds of a concert trip throughout the country to the Fund for Refugees, that he has to be guarded on the way to and from his first concert. What has happened to us in this country? If we study our own history, we find that we have always been ready to receive the unfortunates from other countries. And though this may seem a generous gesture on our part, we have profited 1,000-fold by what they have brought us. Eleanor to Franklin, February 22nd, 1939. Are you willing I should talk to Sumner and say that we approve passage of Child's Refugee Bill? Hope you are having a grand time. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, February 22nd, 1939. All well on board, fine weather here, keeping to schedule. It is all right for you to support Child Refugee Bill, but it is best for me to say nothing till I get back. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, March 10th, 1939. Sumner, etc., waiting for supporting word from you on Child Refugee Bill, European situation worsening daily. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, March 11th, 1939. Being advised I must wait on Child Refugee Bill, cannot speak now. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, April 19th, 1939. Will you speak on Child Refugee Bill soon? Looking here like support is weakening. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, April 19th, 1939. Cannot right now speak on Child Refugee Bill. People are worried. Floodgates, etc. must wait. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, May 20th, 1939. Reports out of Europe dark. People being beaten, being shot. People are dying. Child Refugee Bill needed now. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, May 21st, 1939. Have conferred. All are afraid we will lose support for aid to Britain, etc. Also, upcoming Lend-Lease proposal will be a fight. Cannot speak for Child Refugee Bill now. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, June 11th, 1939. Child Refugee Bill being destroyed in committee. We need you. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, June 11th, 1939. I'm sorry. All are saying I cannot speak for this bill. Too little to gain, too much at stake. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, June 26th, 1939. Child refugee bill has been gutted. Will not matter even if passes. People desperate. Situation worsening. Hair H getting bolder. What to do? Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, June 26, 1939. Appeal to ICR. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, June 27, 1939. How to appeal to ICR? They have no funds. Reports from Europe say Herr H, watching us closely, wants Germany, quote, cleansed, end quote. Not just Jews, also Catholics, atheists, gypsies, homosexuals. If no country will have them, I fear what we can expect of him. Much love, Eleanor. Franklin to Eleanor, June 27, 1939. I understand, situation terrible, as you say, but my hands are tied. Much love, FDR. Eleanor to Franklin, June 28, 1939. Mine are not. Much love, Eleanor. That's half the story.
SJ. Beautiful. You know, our friend Larry Block, I sent him a copy of the book, and he singled out your story. He loved it very much. So
I appreciate it.
know,
yeah.
I don't know if I told you that or.
I saw that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, okay, good.
I mean, a man of clearly good taste.
Oh yeah, definitely. He has exquisite taste. I would say the same thing. Okay, so we're going to have you back in the green room. Thank you so much for reading, and we'll wrap things up at the end. We'll have a little powwow. And we're going to bring up Alex to read his story.
Great.
Okay, so
thank you
so much, SJ Rosen. Thank you. All right, here comes Alex Segura, and
hello.
I wanted to tell you I brought up the Elvis Costello anthology earlier to everybody, and not you. And I wanted to say I have some feelers out there who do know him. So if he comes back in and we can get him on board, I don't see why we couldn't try to pull this thing off. What is your title? What do you think? What do you think the whole volume should be called? I'm sure you have something in mind.
I'm kind of torn between Watching the Detectives, which is the easy choice, or something like Blood and Chocolate. Something, he's got so many great noir-y titles, album titles, or song titles. So
okay,
I think we'll have plenty to choose from. Yeah, but we'll get. I've only talked to a few people about it, but I think we'll get a great lineup.
All right. Well,
if we get the blessing, if we get EC's
blessing, I want him on board. And I mean, who knows? He might even write a story or something. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he could do it. I've got a couple of other musician friends who are, kind of up the chain that I'm gonna, I have are reaching out for me. So anyhow, let's get on to your story, JFK, the Camelot Complex. We're going to hear from Alex Segura and his story from The Faking of the President. We'll talk some more about the book. Thank you. In just a second. And now you'll listen to Alex. All right. Go get him.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Peter, Cat, and Three Rooms Press. Always good to share this virtual stage with SJ and Allison. It's a little bit of a dark take on the JFK assassination with a bit of a sci-fi twist. So if you like that kind of vibe, I hope you enjoy this. I'll read the first chunk of it, and then I'll leave it to you guys to pick up the rest. The Camelot Complex. Sergeant Guardian Sarah Gunner awoke with a start. She felt the same sinking feeling she got whenever she took on one of these missions. The nausea, the disorientation, the displacement that she could only liken to that ancient word, that term. What was it? Jet lag? Yes, that was it. That sense of not being fully there. At least they placed her properly this time, off to the side, away from the crowds lining the street. The air was crisp and felt clean, unlike the air she was used to back home, often inhaled through a mask's protective filter. No, this was direct. It felt good, pure. She stood up hesitantly, getting used to her body and surroundings. She checked her clothes. It appeared to be a police uniform. She smiled. Larson was good at this stuff, she knew. But on cases like this, he went the extra mile. She checked the badge. Police, Dallas, Texas. She checked her wrist. People kept time with watches on their wrists, she reminded herself. and let out a quick gasp as she did the formula that allowed her to figure out what time it was here in 1963. 12:15 p.m. She walked out of the alley and entered another world. Men, women, and children were crowding the sidewalks and into the streets, waiting. Some waved signs. Excitement and energy crackled in the air. She heard someone nearby mutter, "He's coming. His motorcade is almost here." She had to hustle. If she saw his car, it'd be too late. She scanned the Dallas skyline and found the building easily. It was getting there that would be problematic. "Could have dropped me with more time, Larson," she muttered to herself as she shoved and moved through the crowd. The uniform gave her more leeway. People in this time tended to defer to the police, but not much. Everyone was on some primal high, as if waiting to touch the hand of God. Pretty close, she thought. She saw her reflection in a nearby store window and almost froze. It was her. She could see her dark eyes, brown hair, and pale complexion, but the attire and demeanor were off. When these trips happened, you were yourself, but you weren't. It was disconcerting, to say the least. It felt like you were driving a rental instead of your own body. She crossed the street, the large warehouse building looming behind her. Her shoulders brushed up against another man. He apologized quickly, not stopping, a long bag slung over his broad shoulder. She looked at him. At first glance, the uniform screamed police, but something stuck with her. The uniform didn't match hers. It was off, worn and not pressed, the colors muted like a costume. His badge, too, wasn't right. A 5-pointed star, the kind of badge you'd see kids wearing as costumes in past centuries. Now, if she was being technical. It was bright, too, as if made with aluminum foil, reflecting the strong Dallas sun. There was no time to think about it. When she turned around again, the man was gone. "Your friend was in a hurry," a woman said, scurrying past Sarah. She was carrying a large, bulky camera. A Polaroid? She hadn't prepped enough. "Never seen him before," Sarah said, without hesitating. She flinched. Contact was frowned upon. "In and out," Larson had said. "Don't talk to anyone. Don't look at anyone. Don't leave a fucking footprint if you can help it." "Now, how is that possible?" the woman said as she wheeled around, her eyes on Sarah now, squinting as if trying to get a better look at her. She was young, Sarah noticed, with plain, pleasant features. She wore a conservative embroidered dress and seemed energetic and enthusiastic. She smiled and extended her free hand. "I'm so sorry, officer. That was rude. I'm just, she said. "You don't often see a woman in uniform is all. I mean, I know we have lady police officers and all, but..." She sighed. Sarah took her hand, despite knowing how badly she was fucking this up now. "My name is Mary Mormon," the woman said. "I'm just excited. I've never seen the president or his wife. She's so darn pretty. I felt like a kid on the first day of school. I feel like a kid on the first day of school." Sarah looked at her watch. 12:20 p.m. "Nothing to worry about, ma'am," Sarah said with a nod. "Have a great day." Mary Mormon nodded, as if she wanted to say something more, but thought better of it. Shit, Sarah thought. Larson had been clear about this. What was it he'd said? Time travel is like tossing a rock into a lake. No matter how or what you do, it'll cause ripples. The trick is to be gentle and light, so the ripples are minimal. So much for that, she thought. Sarah made it to the other side of the street and nodded to a fellow officer as she entered the book depository. The bulk of the crowd was in front of the building's main entrance, mesmerized by what was to come down the street in a few minutes. If they only knew. She noticed a man shoving a final piece of sandwich into his mouth as he stepped out of the building. Lee around? She asked. Lee? The man asked. Oswald? That freak? Sarah nodded. She was kicking herself, but she couldn't think of a faster way to get to where she needed to go. Damn the ripples for now. Up on 6, if for all I know, the man said. We're all just having some lunch before this motorcade thing, but Lee was too busy. Asked if we could send the elevator back up for him when we was done fooling around. But I'm not sure if anyone did. Anyway, he should still be up on 6, doing whatever his strange self wants to be doing right now. Sarah nodded and moved past the burly, lethargic man. She'd done more than enough talking for the day. That's it.
All right. Alex,
All right.
everybody's clapping for you in the green room too. So I can attest to it. You know, you
I
can believe me. Believe me. I voted.
I believe you.
I voted. Yeah. Look, I can't even touch this thing on my. Here it is. I voted.
You did vote. So I see it.
If you look here, you know, okay, I got it. Anyhow, thank you so much. It's a great story, and you want to see the book. Get the book, and you can read the rest of that story along with Alison's and SJ's. And even my own, which I'm going to read a little from now. Alex, if you could hold off there in the green room with the other guys, and we'll see you in just a minute. We'll talk.
The food is nice in the green room.
Yeah, thank you. Nice I went 101 days I cooked in a row, so I wasn't going to leave you guys high and dry there in the green room. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, so you're stuck with the editor now, which is normally, you know, downtime, but where am I here? I'm going to read from somewhere. What I have is a guy named Bo Brainer, and he's visiting the White House. He's going to visit with Trump. He's got a great idea. He's been trying to visit Trump for years, and bad things have happened to him every time. So the name is But One Life to Give, which was our man Nathaniel Hale said that before he was hung back in the Revolutionary War, during the Revolutionary War. So I took it from his statement, sadly, you know, where I only have but one life to give for my country. This is for Bo Brainer. So he's sitting in the White House. He's sitting in the near the Oval Office in the waiting room, and he's got his secretary there, and we'll take it from there. So it says, where did you get the name Valkyrie? Because I am a Valkyrie, she answered. Ha ha, I started laughing when the desk phone rang once and Valkyrie pushed speaker. Yes, Mr. President, she asked. Who is this? The inimitable voice thrust. My name's Valkyrie. What color is your hair? Trump asked. Valkyrie told him blonde. Good, he allowed. I told him to only hire blondes. And what size? You know, what size is your bra? 38D, Mr. President. There was a short silence. Trump asked, is my man out there with the wand thing? Yes, sir. He's very eager to see you. Well, tell him I'm sitting here with Mike and that Mitch and Linz are on their way. So as soon as they get here, we're going to bring him in, okay? Trump said. Yes, sir, agreed Valkyrie. More silence. Mike, I told him 38 was unacceptable. Valkyrie turned off speaker and explained, they should be ready for you shortly. I had to get my game face on now. Trump, Pence, McConnell, and Graham, they'd be eating on my hand in no time. My plan was win-win for the entire administration and the US of A. My soft brace was hot and strange to the touch. Command, the boys are back in town. Obi-Wan, what's the thermalite reading? Command, all systems go. Obi-Wan, this is bigger than Geronimo with SEAL Team 6. Command, copy that. Obi-Wan, we're going high. Over. What's this wand thing the president spoke of? Valkyrie asked. A game changer, I answered, adding, no, a world changer. There's approximately 2,000 miles of U.S.-Mexican border, right? Valkyrie nodded. Well, on spotwand.com, every U.S. citizen can sign up to be daily border control agents by logging on to the satellite surveillance platform, where every chosen agent is assigned a random quarter-mile sector to surveil for a 2-hour shift. And if there is any illegal activity, the agent reports this immediately, and the nearest border checkpoint will spring into action. Valkyrie asked, so you basically sign up to turn in your fellow man? Exactly, I agreed. It cuts right to the core of the human condition. We can keep our country safe with minimal expense above initial outlay and operating costs. Spot1.com will save the government billions. And our labor cost is zero. See, like I said, there are approximately 2,000 miles of U.S.-Mexican border, and each mile is broken up into quarters. So that makes 8,000 sectors. Then there are 12 two-hour shifts per day. That's 12 times 8 for a total of 96,000 shifts per day. Plus, you need another 96,000 completely random backup agents to make sure the first shift doesn't try to use their power to abet the enemy. So say 200,000 Americans per day protecting our southern border. What could be more patriotic? Well, I guess you're right, Valkyrie admitted, but isn't Juan just a bit of a slur? Not in the least. I jumped Juan. JUAN stands for Joint Undesirable Alien Neutralization. Believe me, we've thought this thing out, and we could enhance the program by allotting tax credit to those who complete X amount of exemplary service, even put their Social Security into higher yield market. The possibilities are endless, and it's win-win for everyone. Might even monetize the system eventually, she suggested. Absolutely! Every American would be honored to serve. I probably shouldn't tell you this, Valkyrie began, but about 2 months ago, there was another man like yourself, came in to meet the president with a similar proposition. I think he had a wall built out of lasers at the border, impossible to penetrate. Well, he had a similar accident on jet skis in Bermuda or somewhere like that. He wore a knee brace, sat right where you are, but the president had to go wine and dine half the Senate. Were you here at the time? No, she answered. He had his own Valkyrie and his own Alicia. Now, what's that supposed to mean? I mean, earlier you said you were a Valkyrie. The intercom buzzed and she put it on speaker. Send in Brainer, ordered Trump. Right away, Mr. President. She replied. There was another short silence, and Trump's voice continued. What do you mean they can impeach me again on a different charge? Whatever happened to double jeopardy? Then what sounded like Senator McConnell's voice chimed in. Double jeopardy doesn't apply to impeachment, Donnie. Not to worry either way. They can't touch you in the Senate. Valkyrie clicked off the speaker and told me, straight down the hall, second door to your right. I quickly stood up, cleared my throat, and adjusted my red tie. My neck was burning. Valkyrie asked, do you really like Trump? I don't have to like him, I answered. I admire his acumen. We are a nation of consumers, and Trump's greatest strength is his ability to consume. I winked, passing her desk. If I pull off this deal, I'll be one of the richest men in America. Wait, no, richest men on the planet. You'll be well remembered, she whispered as I made my way off down the hall. Command. Device ready for detonation. It's Obi-Wan. I'm almost feeling sorry for the guy. Command. Why? He's the perfect patsy. Obi-Wan. Well, he got us into Trump's spin zone. Command. Our team in Mexico did their job. Obi-Wan. All systems go. Over. Kellyanne Conway quickly crossed paths with me, talking on her cell phone. I'm telling you, George, she explained, it's way worse than the Ides of March. Everybody knows. Well, I'm going to need a job, George. I turned back and watched Kellyanne disappear around the corner and noticed Valkyrie pulling up the sleeves of a colorful metallic silver coat. She blew a kiss and ran off in the same direction as Kellyanne. My armpits were soaked. I'd always heard about how disruptive life was inside the walls of Trump's White House, but had no idea things would be quite so crazy. Didn't bother me in the least. I was here to put over a very worthy deal for everyone. All right, well, you're going to have to read the book to read the rest about what happens to Bo Brainer and his one life to give. So let's bring everybody back up and we'll discuss the state of things and as they were and are now and how we're moving forward and all of those things. So let's bring up, here's SJ, here's Allison, and here's Alex. And we're all back. Very good job, everyone. We've got our book. So let's all share our books. And
Hooray.
I'm going to put back up the little banner, and I want to announce right now to I think everybody here knows, but I haven't made any announcements anywhere out in the, I don't want to jinx anything, but July 5th, book review, New York Times, they have a review of this book in the New York Times. It's a first for Three
That's
Rooms
so
Press.
exciting.
It's certainly a first
That's
for
great.
me. And I know I want everyone to be singled out, and it might just be like a little paragraph in our book cover, or even without the book cover. Who knows what they're going to do the first time they allow us into their, paywall or whatever you want to call it. But hopefully it won't be like my first play review where the guy said, stay at home, stare at a wall for an hour. So please don't do that to me. Okay.
Was that Peter? Was that a play you'd written or a play you were
Yes,
acting
a play I wrote and directed, and it was actually a long story where the person was taking something else out of me and got the person to write the review. So it wasn't like a real review. But
no,
I had
because
to pay.
every time I
It was
hear
a vendetta.
It was a vendetta, exactly. It's like
Every
the
time I
Corsicans
hear
came
you-
to kill. Go ahead.
every time I hear you read, I'm kind of amazed at your acting skill.
Yeah,
I'm
a method actor for.
you do Trump and you do, I mean, I love it. I love it.
I could do JFK real quick. It's an old joke. It says, so I'm 20 minutes late for the parade. What are they going to do? Shoot me? So you don't want to hear that. Ah!
Not funny.
It used to be funny.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm sorry I killed the night for that one. Maybe we should just go. Everybody.
It's just hard to follow it. Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
I know. No, we can all follow it. It's that. Anyhow, so let's talk about now and moving forward. And like you said, Allison, I think everybody said I like what I'm seeing in the youth. I think they're not going to let go of this and just say, well, we'll just become copacetic again and just let things go on as they are. I think we're going to see some change, and I think that we'll all be a part of it. All of us here and everyone in the book, all these lovely people, Eric Beetner, Christopher Chambers, Sarah M. Chen, Angel Lewis Colon, S.A. Cosby, Nikki Dolson, Mariana Evans, Kate Flora, Adam Lance Garcia, Danny Gardner, Greg Herring, Gary Phillips, Travis Richardson, and Abby L. Van Diver, and Erica Wright. All those people other than the four of us here. 19 stories of White House noir. So I think all of us are on the right side of history here at this point, moving forward, and I think that we're going to continue to move forward. I'll always be looking for a next follow up for this. I was thinking like I don't know if it was, but what do you think about Politic Lit? So Politic Lit? No, because they had Chick Lit. Remember that? So, no,
I don't know.
went by Allison, so it's out. If it went by Allison, it's no good. It was just an idea.
That's
Not all ideas are good.
A book in search
very
of its
politely
identity.
rejected.
Yeah.
Just like the Kennedy joke should have been rejected before. I'm sorry.
We missed the dress rehearsal. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll get together again. Who knows? We'll find some reason to do so. I'm going to certainly talk to everybody else, and maybe we can put together a few more of these, especially after the top flight, the rave Times review. We should all just get together and party somewhere
Peter,
online.
Peter, you haven't seen the review, right?
No, I know nothing about it.
Sometimes they send it in advance.
I have not seen it, but if I do and it's bad, I won't let you know.
Thank you.
Here's what I heard. Here's what I heard, and we've been going in there twice a year for many years, showing them our books every season and face to face. And this time we did a Zoom meeting, and he told me that they were going to be doing a review and that it's included in a political fiction column or something like that.
Great.
So
that figures over the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Peter, congratulations. I think it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's fabulous. It's fabulous.
Yeah, and to you guys too. I wouldn't be here without your stories.
It's your
And-
tireless efforts and your wonderful editing that.
Yeah.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. Thank
And
you.
the
Thank you for
idea.
putting the team together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And the team is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And this team
Yeah.
is just unbelievably great writers, diverse cast. It's just everything that you want right now to do a project. And it just came together so well. And I'm so happy how everybody's story complements and adds to the big picture. And I hope that everybody gets called out for at least that, for being a part of this great piece of work. And I
Called out in
think
a
that
good
we
way.
will.
Yeah.
I think that we will. I really feel good about it because I am nobody, and for them to destroy nobody just doesn't make sense. Why would they want to destroy me? That's the way I'm looking at it.
That's it. I like that. That's an interesting.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
an
What
interesting
do they get?
approach, yeah.
What do they get out
Right.
of destroying me? Nothing,
Right. So they
you know what I
so they
mean?
must like it.
At least
They have bigger
I
fish
think
to
they're
fry.
gonna-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think exactly. In fact, in a pan, they fry me. There's no meat there. Nobody's goes, okay, then forget about it. So in a column,
It's not like
I
you're
think-
John Bolton. That is true. So
It's true.
I think that metaphor has, kind of gone as far as it can go, the fish
Right.
frying thing.
Yeah.
You're
We've come
right.
full circle.
But I'm so honored that you would join me. And, we did an hour and a half together. It was easy. It was so much fun having you
Oh, these
here.
are always
We're New
fun.
Yorkers.
Yeah.
We're New Yorkers. We got the vote out. We're here in New York.
Yeah. It'd be interesting
that-
to see what the
that's
vote is.
why the four of us are together tonight, being here in the city, which was Germ Central.
yay!
Germ Central still has the most cases that there were in this country.
Yeah,
and-
but now has the fewest. Now we are
Right,
down
right.
to a statistically negligible number. And I also want to say, because I've been watching this, that the protests started on May 25th and have been
Right.
going on steadily. And everybody's saying that the protests will bring a spike in cases. This has not happened.
It hasn't, no.
In New York, I don't know about in other places, it's hard to tell because they're still going up. But in New York, every protest I was in, 90% of people were wearing masks. It was amazing. And
That
they were
is
giving
amazing.
out
So the
masks.
one we had up here, they were handing out masks to
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
didn't have them.
Yeah,
so-
here too, they're handing them out
Yeah.
and spritzing you with sanitizer if you wanted.
Yeah.
And we have not had that protest spike. Now it could still come, I guess, but it's been 3 weeks now, a little more, and so I find that very exciting. And I think Allison, you made a good point before, where you said that we're all home watching this stuff happen. We can't ignore it. I think somebody on NPR said one of the reasons everybody's out in the street is all these young people are not in school, they're not at work. They're furious about it.
Yes.
And it's all, coming together in this one movement.
Yeah.
And that's what you need for a movement is for everybody to say, this whole thing is wrong. Everything going on is wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and the protests are so important to the protesters that they're willing to risk their lives during a global pandemic, and we're seeing these crowds that would have been impressive under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a historic moment.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm incredibly cheered and impressed
Yeah.
by this generation. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I feel good about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to feel good about it. Well, guys, thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you,
hopefully
Peter.
I'll see you.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the water over there. On the
Me,
Hudson River
you'll
one
see.
day.
Yeah, me. Just go look for the ducks and the geese, and I'm there. Taking their
Okay.
picture.
And of course, I'll be following you with the squirrels on Facebook. And Alex, I follow you, and just found out before about your book deal. I'm so excited.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
And
Thank you,
Allison,
thank
we'll get up to Woodstock when we can.
Yes.
We've
Where
got
they
a
let
friend's house to stay in, but we would stay with you too if we're
Yes.
safe, So, all right. Well, thanks so much, and
Okay.
and we'll get together. Faking of the President, one last shot of the book, guys.
Yeah.
And
The president.
thank you so
Faking
much.
of the President.
Down below, bye. See that word? Bye.
Buy the
And
book. Buy the
bye,
book.
guys.
Bye.
And remember, Black Lives
Bye.
Matter, right?
Yes.
Black Lives
Yes.
Matter.
That's
Black
what
Lives
counts
Matter.
right now. Okay. So
Okay.
long, guys. I love you.
All right.
Love you.
Bye.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.